Hello, I'm Coach Lance Meyer of Grass Ministries at the Green Room Art Studio, and today I'm going to share a few lessons about using color to create a scene, especially using clouds and maybe a little bit of a sunset. And basically, we're just going to kind of explore some colors. And I've also put three crosses in the picture as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the materials you'll need. You need some brushes. Today I have some very large brushes with me. I even have one that's this size. Wouldn't necessarily have to be that big, but I've chosen 3 or 4 rather large brushes today. I did keep a couple smaller ones available in case we need some details at the end. But what we're going to do, if you look very closely on my piece of paper, and you probably, it's maybe pretty difficult to see, but I've blocked out, actually with Scotch tape, which I'm not suggesting use Scotch tape, but it was the only thing I had available at this time, to block out 3 crosses on your picture. One that's going straight up and down, one that's kind of angled, another one that's kind of angled over here. So there's 3 crosses in there. Just put some Scotch tape. Better to use painter's tape or another just small masking tape would be okay. You don't want to leave that tape on there real long. It may bleed a little bit, but you'll be able to have a little blocking in there for your picture. So we're going to get started right away. I just had the privilege of going up to Door County over the last couple days and visiting a number of art studios and meeting with a couple of the top watercolorists and even a former teacher that I had 20 years ago that taught me many things related to watercolor and art. So I'm kind of excited to get going here today. We're going to do a real simple lesson. This is one that kids can do. Adults, feel free to join in. I think you'll find this one, unlike maybe some of my other ones, to be fairly simple and a great way to just kind of get started. In fact, that's kind of my approach here too today. Just want to get some colors in there and see what happens. So here we go. Going to grab the water, and I'm going to grab this very large brush, and I'm actually going to take and put water kind of all the way across the whole piece of paper, covering up, and maybe those crosses you'll be able to see a little better when I do that. Maybe not. We're going to get some water in there. I'm basically going to cover most, if not all. I'm going to leave just a little bit, maybe at the bottom, dry yet. We'll see. This is one of these paintings I'm just kind of creating as I go here. I did look at a little sunset picture, and I may reference that, but basically I'm just kind of letting the water, letting the paint kind of do its thing. It's kind of a fun one to do. All right, we've got that plenty wet. You'll notice I used quite a bit of water there with that big brush. You don't necessarily have to have that huge brush like that, but it does make it a little bit easier. Now I'm going to grab another pretty large brush here. I'm going to start with this one right here, a large flat brush. I'm going to grab, and I'm going to start with some yellows. So I've got a number of yellows. Going to have 2 palettes here. Don't get too caught up in, what your supplies are compared to mine or whatever. But again, you can just get at a local art supply, Hobby Lobby place. I do have some professional artists over here, artist paint, I should say, over here as well. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take that yellow and we're just going to throw it on there. And I see it's not quite the pretty yellow I want. So we're going to add a little more of that, grab a little more of that yellow. Got a little green on me, no worries. Going to grab a little bit over here as well. Oh, there we go. Okay, now just going to grab this yellow right here. Hopefully you can see that a little bit. It's just got a little bit more of an oranger tint to it. And throw that in there as well. Just kind of getting some yellows on my page. Yellow is a great color because you can cover over it. In fact, I even had that on my dry area. I'm even going to throw that yellow in my dry area as well because that will make that green pop. Kind of leaving the top not with yellow because I don't want that necessarily to get into my blues and turn it green. That may happen a little bit, but my goal here. Now, your page doesn't necessarily have to have that whole thing covered in yellow, but throw some yellow out there. How's that? I have a couple different shades, so I'm going to just grab a little bit of this. It's It's a little darker hue. As you work across your palette, you could even add a little orange in there. Just going to kind of throw that in here. Just kind of see what that does. Okay. There we go. Kind of a deeper. I'm kind of working there. Now I'm going to go and actually grab some oranges. Okay, and here I'm going to work a little bit more toward the top. Grab some more of this orange. And I'm going to get that in there. Maybe a little more on this side. Oh, there we go. There we got a little nice deep orange. Mix that in there a little bit. I'm going to kind of work so that I'm kind of leaving this area here as if maybe that's partially sun in there. Maybe grab a couple of these streaks. Maybe even create a little bit of a horizon line in here. Let's do that. Okay. Now, darken this side up a little bit. All right. I'm going to grab just a little red. Maybe, let's see here. Let's throw that just a little bit more over here so we get that to kind of run in there. There we go. Okay, I kind of like what's going on there. Got some bright, bold colors. Now I'm going to set that brush down. And I'm going to do what is a little bit difficult. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Grab another brush. Paper my water, and just do little figure eights. Another little helpful tip here, guys, little figure eights in the water to clean out your brushes. You'll notice sometimes it's good to have multiple water. I just did one today, but it's not a bad idea to have a couple, and one that's like more clean, and then one that obviously you're getting a little dirtier as you go. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab a blue. This is probably like a cobaltish. I'm going to go ahead. It's not my darkest, but it's not the lightest blue either. So I'm grabbing that, and I'm going to put that up here. And you can see this is already drying a little bit. So I might even just want to grab a little water, especially on the top here, and just get that to be a little darker. Okay. And we're just going to kind of see what happens. Getting that blue out there. I'll put that up here. I am kind of running down into that. I'm actually leaving a little separation at this point. Okay, so I've got my kind of cobalty blue. Yeah, you can see that the yellow kind of will turn that green. And that's kind of just the way it goes here right now. There are some techniques we can get into that will help with that, but obviously you want to try to keep the yellow out of there. Okay, I'm keeping that side like there's a little sun in there. All right, now, here's one of the little tricks I'm going to use. I used like a cobalty. Now I'm going to grab something, maybe like an ultramarine blue, which is maybe a little bit darker. And I'm going to hit this corner up there with the darkest. The top of the horizon is usually the darkest. I'm sorry, the top of the sky. So we're going to go up here and go a little darker. And then, ooh, there we go. We kind of are getting this little natural cloud line. I don't know if you can see that or not, but kind of getting a little bit of a cloud line. Now there's some tricks with that too. I'm just going to add back in there, and I'm going to just, there we go, kind of create a cloud right there. And then I'm going to balance this one more out, kind of get rid of the cloud. So I kind of got a cloud running in through here. Now notice, I'm doing this, I'm just kind of allowing for whatever kind of happens to happen. Sometimes I want to have more control. Today, in this lesson, we're just going to kind of see what happens. Maybe we'll get some pretty colors. Maybe we won't. We'll see. All right, here's the next thing I'm going to do. As I work down toward those yellows and the skyline, I'm going to grab a lighter blue, like a cerulean. We got a little bit of that over here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, but maybe like a cerulean blue. I'm going to grab that and kind of work that then as I get closer to the sky here, the lower part of the sky. And I got to be a little careful because I want to keep that cloud. And I said I was going to have a sun over there, so we'll see if that actually happens or not. I don't know. There we did get that little green in there. It's all right. Just live with it. It'll be all right. Okay. Now. All right. Now, I mentioned this cloud thing. I'm going to actually dap that just a little bit. Kind of give us this billowy, as long as I kind of had that kind of accidentally, I'm going to actually pull that back. And then I'll show you another trick with that in a little bit. But now I've got my cloud. I'm going to bring it just even a little bit farther there. That's okay. Let's kind of see what we end up with here. Okay, I like that. We've got our little cloud. We have some nice blues. We got some stuff going on over here. Maybe I want to fix that. I'm going to just kind of leave that. Let's just kind of see what happens. Sometimes the more fun that you get is just not the stuff you do, but just kind of what the paper and stuff does. So don't get too caught up in your mistakes or something you don't like. Just kind of let that go a little bit. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm looking at this. I know this is, I'm going to come back with this darker blue one more time. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually bring that up here one more time. So I got a real deep dark sky up here on this side especially. Just kind of adds a little piece to it. Okay, now. I'm going to get too caught up in what this is. But here's what we're going to do. Next up, grab another brush or clean out your brush. And let's get these greens in on the bottom. Now, the nice thing is I've got that yellow on the bottom. And what I'm going to do is actually grab another one of these blues. This is kind of a cerulean color again. I'm going to start with that and just put that on the bottom and see what kind of greens we get. I'm going to actually take it kind of angle, just do this little kind of loop-de thing here a little bit. That's pretty. Grab another blue. Let's see in here. Yeah, there we go. Get a nice little green in there. I could mix yellow in, just kind of playing with a couple different blues. I just know from experience that ultramarine blue will give you kind of a dark green. I don't necessarily want to do that in this case. So I'm going to just kind of work with these more like ceruleans to get these they're kind of pretty greens, kind of bright popping greens. They're not, not dull greens. These are a little more popping. Another thing that I know is phthalo blue. If you happen to have a little phthalo blue in your palette, which you may not, that's okay. Just grab one of those lighter blues, and if whatever your blue is, mix it with some yellow. And I'm just gonna go, we did that side kind of dark. Yeah, I'm gonna do this side over here a little dark too. Ooh, look at that. And I may even bring that up just a little bit more. Now, if I want to mute part of that, mute it, that means add a little red to it. I'm just gonna grab one more brush here and grab just a little red. And I'm just gonna kind of throw that in there as well. Maybe in through here, there we go. Maybe toward the bottom. I'm gonna keep some of it kind of that bright. And you'll notice this kind of running thing up here. Looks like it's kind of getting away from me. I could dap that and kind of get that out of there. That would be one option. I am just gonna kind of leave that and kind of see what happens. I can always maybe pull it out later, but I kind of like some of that action going on in there. This particular painting, I'm not so concerned with what the result or what it exactly looks like, as I am just kind of getting some colors in there and kind of creating a kind of exploration in colors. All right. So if you'll notice on the bottom down here, these got that little red in them that darkens up the greens a little bit. That's a good thing to do, and not just use straight. You'll notice I haven't even used green yet, but this will mute it out a little bit, and yet I still kept some of that bright colors over here. Now, if you feel like, boy, I just really do want more green, you can. I'm going to grab this leafy green over here. And let's just say, where do we want to put that a little bit? Let's just bring that, maybe this hill kind of backs up over here a little bit. Okay, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I tend to find that the more you can mix your blues and yellows, you'll get prettier greens. But there's times in my paintings that I do use this, this green. This happened to be a leafy one. Let's grab something that's maybe more like a viridian. That's got a little bit like a fir tree color. It's already got a little blue mixed into it. Let's just throw that kind of on the bottom here a little bit. You notice I like to keep this as wet as I can because that's going to allow those colors. Maybe we got a little bush. There we go. Or let's do this. That viridian color, let's do this. Let's put a little bit of a tree. Hopefully this is still a little wet. May want to just add a little water in this area right there. There we go. And we're just going to stick a little of this green. I'm going to do this motion right here. And that's what I'm doing, kind of taking this brush and kind of turning it outside. And then I'm going to do that kind of thing. And maybe there's a little of these viridian colored fir trees kind of on the hill. It's nice to work in threes. But in this case, maybe it is just one lone tree today. All right. Now, again, good to, I'm going to grab that color one more time and just deepen that a little bit. Now, maybe toward the top, it's actually a little light. Okay, there, that's a little prettier. Okay, now I'm going to actually grab, and maybe just a little bit of that red. Maybe I'll mix that over here a little bit. And one side of the tree, we're going to make it a little darker, and toward the bottom as well. See that? And then, okay, there's that red. Okay, now that's a nice effect right there, and it's a good technique. I'm going to bring that across just a little bit on that side. So I've got, see how that, hopefully you can see that a little bit. It's a little darker on this side. Now, another little technique is to take a little bit of yellow, and the side that maybe is a little closer to the light source is add a little bit of that yellow in there. So you have, this is just a good technique to use. One side of your tree is a little darker, one side's a little lighter. That's just an easy, simple technique. Now, I'm going to have to decide here at some point. Do I want to, I've got this kind of blurry thing coming down here. Is that what I want? Or not? I tend to say, yeah, keep it in there. But that's me, right? I kind of like to just dabble and have some fun. Not be too afraid of making mistakes and all that. I'm still, but if I wanted to get that out of there, all I would need to do is just grab a paper towel, dap it, and now would be the time I probably would need to do that. This kind of adds, you know, it's just unique. So I'm actually just still going to keep that in there a little while longer, and maybe I'll keep it the whole time. We'll see. All right. Now, I kind of got to decide at this point. I've got some colors in there. Let me see if I can bring this down so you can see it just a little more. Okay. It's much brighter. I don't know if your view is as dark as mine or not. I've got some pretty colors rolling in here. So I kind of got to decide here what I'm going to do with this picture. I know one thing that I definitely want to do is on these clouds up on top, I want to come back with the blue. Little drier brush, water in the brush, but a little drier paper. Going to grab the ultramarine and the cobalt. I may mix that up a little bit. I want a pretty dark blue. I could even, let's do that. Let's grab just a little bit of this purple in there. Just a little to really get a dark shade of that blue. Okay, and here's what we're going to do. The better paper you have, the more you're kind of able to. I'm doing this with kind of a little, not the most expensive paper, so I may not quite get the effects of paper that's very expensive, but I'm going to start about right here, kind of the side of my brush like this, and I'm just going to kind of get these little edges of the clouds. Notice that right above there. I'm going nice and dark. I'm kind of doing it uneven, but now this will give me a beautiful cloud. Bring that right there, and I'm going to keep that kind of dark there. Now I kind of have to, somewhere, this time I'm going to add a little water. This time I am going to get more water in my brush. I'm going to kind of start up here, and I'm going to kind of just continue that a little bit. Okay, and then I'll come back with that color one more time up in this corner. I want this corner nice and dark. Okay, and I'm going to bring that down all the way to this kind of, I guess we're kind of creating a horizon line here, but that's all right. Okay, something like that. You'll notice I get this nice kind of choppy cloud up in here. Now, with that now, I've got this blue. I'm going to grab just a little more cerulean, lighter blue. And now here's what we're going to do. We're going to mix a little bit of orange. Could use red. That turned a little more green than I'd like. So let's try a different orange. There we go. A little blue and orange. You see what that does? I don't know if you can see this in this palette. It creates kind of a cloudy gray, okay? So what we're going to do with that is bring that underneath the bottom of the cloud. Now, probably been better had I worked a little bit quicker on this, but I want to at least show you how to do this a little bit. The bottom of your cloud kind of being that grayish color. So that's blue and a little bit of orange. You could do it with red too. There we got a real dark, like almost a dark, real dark cloud. Just going to kind of throw that in here. Again, been probably a little better had I done this when this was still a little wet. Maybe this is another cloud here below it. And in fact, here's what we'll do. This is a good example of creating on the fly, okay? Hope you can see this. I have a very nice white cloud up here. Better if this would have kind of flowed a little bit, but we ended up with kind of almost a separate cloud. The cloud line kind of did that. Maybe those are two different clouds. Here's what I'm going to do. I got this beautiful gray down here. I'm going to hit that one more time right on the bottom. And then I'm going to bring that, yeah, there we go. We're getting almost like a little storm cloud underneath that. I'm going to even bring that a little bit more. Kind of appropriate, maybe, reminding us of the day that it went dark. Jesus on Good Friday, when Jesus gave his life. All right, I've got kind of a dark cloud there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue, and I'm going to add, again, a red to that, because I want to get a little bit of a purplish color. This can be kind of fun. Some of your clouds now. I've got this beautiful color in here. I kind of got a little sunshine over here. I've kept that a little lighter. This side's a little dark. We're still deciding what we're doing with this mess over here, huh? Maybe you're tempting me to get rid of that. I don't know. We'll see. I've got this kind of cloud here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually take that another step. We're going to bring another cloud maybe right in here, kind of across that cross, and something like that. Just kind of create a cloud. And I'm going to bring it just like that. You'll see these often, actually, these little kind of purplish clouds. Let me bring that one a little farther. This is not great cloud work, but it's kind of pretty. I'm using those oranges, and maybe I'll go one step further, but keep it a little lighter as it goes toward that sun there. And I feel like we maybe need to have one more kind of lone cloud over here. I could have used some masking to kind of get me a, some light edges on the top. But there we go. Sometimes you get these little low clouds in the sky. Sometimes they're light, but sometimes they're these purplish color, especially as you kind of in and around the sun here. You get these oranges. And again, the purpose of this painting is to just explore color and less concerned with the results, as I am just kind of playing around with the colors and seeing what happens a little bit. That's why I haven't gotten too concerned about what's going on over here. Okay, we got our tree. We've got a little hill over here. We got some kind of a greenish area. we've got a few clouds in a couple different formats. Here's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to bring that purple down on the bottom of that, a little darker again on the bottom of this cloud. Okay, and maybe they even run a little bit kind of together there. Okay, all right. A little bit universal. Maybe I do need to do something more over here. But let me just look at that here quick. I think as far as an exploration in color, I think we've got something that has some success to it. I am kind of stuck here, whether I want to do more or just kind of stop and leave it as is. There's a big part of me just saying, you know, I think we're just going to leave it as is for now. And then I'll wait just a second and take off these colors here. And you know what? As long as I have stayed, I'm going to go ahead and dap this here. Pull that color back out of there. I kind of liked it, but give you one more thing we can do here yet quick. Let's just add a couple trees. We have one in the foreground here. Let's just add a couple. I'm going to get some water here and just kind of add a couple trees over here too. So just kind of throw a little water there. Now I'm going to grab some blues. This time I'm going to use a little more of that ultramarine into the yellow. That's going to be a little darker. And I got the blues in there too. Okay. I think I lied. I think those are actually pretty vibrant. Tone those. Okay, there we go. Bottom's going to be a little darker blue. And then I'm actually going to grab a little bit of green into the blues. Do that just a little bit. And then we got to get a little red in there because it's pretty more purple to the bottom. Okay, there we go. Now, let's just bring this up there a little bit. Trying to get a little tree motion here. And maybe it comes out on that side a little bit. There we go. Okay. I think I'm just going to leave that as is. Okay, again, the main purpose of this, tell a story, have a little fun, but use the colors, okay? And I think we're at a stopping point here. I could always come back, but I'm going to just start pulling this off once. And let's see what we get here. Normally you'd want to wait maybe a little longer than I am for that to fully dry, but for the sake of the video, and so you can see it, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. Now my tape actually worked pretty well. Don't be surprised if it bleeds a little bit underneath, and that's okay. All right. And again, I wouldn't necessarily normally suggest using Scotch tape, but I think in this case, because I'm doing it all in one shot, I think we're going to be all right here. Wow, having a little trouble getting that off here. Let's try that one more time. Now we could come back with color on top of the whites here. That would be, some of you may choose to do that. You could come back with some oranges and blues, make some browns. You could just be creative. You could use a different medium on those crosses. You could use a Sharpie pen or something along those lines. Now, I'm going to just reference this spot that you may kind of see here. You know, thought about this for a little while there. Here, now it doesn't. Let's just say I don't really like that little spot in there. I can come back. You grab this section. I grab this brush here. Grab my little oranges. And just kind of come back through this a little bit. There we go. Just kind of blend that a little bit. And there we go. Okay. That kind of happy mistakes, we call them. Happy mistakes. All right. The masterpiece is finished. Okay. It may not be a masterpiece, but We have a little story. We have some fun. We have some colors. And maybe this is the kind of painting, too, that you can do multiple times and have different results with. You may choose to do it in a little bit different colors. I'm going to flip it around and hold it up a little bit. I'm going to bring it up so you can see, even though it's not the greatest work, go this way, sorry, this cloud line right here. Great technique where you get these clouds, the little blue on top, and then those grays in here. And then this you'll see often, like along the skyline, you'll see these little purplish, look for it on a especially like around Lake Michigan, or if the sun is, I guess that would be rising, but on this side, but you'll see that sometimes. Again, you have, this ain't the greatest tree. I'm not claiming this is the greatest piece of work here, but you have a darker side of the tree, a light side of the tree. I'm allowing, I didn't really put a sun in here. I'm kind of suggesting that this is, some of the sunlight over here. We could still, I've got pretty colors down on the bottom over here. Maybe that's some water. Maybe it's whatever. You can it just kind of, maybe it is just kind of the greens of the ground. So this is one technique. I'm going to show another technique where we use more like a pouring technique at another date. Turn this up to me here. But again, this is Coach Lance Meyer of Grass Ministries at the Green Room Art Studio. This is a great little lesson for young children, or somebody's just kind of dabbling and just getting started in the art game, or just wants to get the brushes out and have some fun. The great thing with watercolor is you can pretty much do that just about anywhere. You need some water, you need some brushes, you need some paint, you need some paper. Just kind of don't get so caught up in, again, is this my greatest piece of work? No, but it's a lot of fun, and you got some cool colors in there. So in every painting that you do, we'll have some success and have some failure, just like life. God bless you. Have a great day.